Well, it looks like I have an article here from the Duluth newspaper regarding UFOs, the Duluth News Tribune. And headline says, Satellites from the Mothership. Universities of North Dakota professors say UFOs that buzzed United States warship need more study. Anyway, the article, of course, they can't go all the way. I mean, this is oh my God, they just can't do it. They just can't make themselves do it. Anyway, it says here, a recently released government report and grainy but compelling videos captured by the United States Navy have brought the topic of UFOs to the forefront of the nation's attention. A June 25th report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence focused on 144 encounters with unknown objects that occurred between 2004 and 2021, 80 of which were observed through multiple sensor systems, and only one of which, a large deflating balloon, has been identified. At the University of North Dakota, some space studies professors have their own opinions on the objects, mostly on what they might not be. They agree that further scrutiny is needed to understand what military officials have come to call UAPs, unexplained aerial phenomena. Well, the definition is in the title. They're unknown, said Mike Gaffey, Chester Fritz. He's Chester Fritz Distinguished Professor of Space Studies at UND. Anything that's unknown is of potential interest for a variety of reasons. To some, the mention of a UFO means extraterrestrials or aliens. The government report, mandated by Congress, makes no mention of the unidentified objects as being alien-made or even the existence of aliens. And the report breaks these categories into 5. They're either airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, government or industry developmental programs, foreign adversary systems, and other. A catch-all category that includes a smaller set of phenomena that require scientific advances in order to be understood. UAPs in the other category include objects that display unusual flight characteristics or signature management. Gaffey, who said he is familiar with the report, said the possibility of UAPs being alien in origin is not zero, but so unlikely it may as well be. See, again, they just can't do it. They just can't make themselves, they can't see. I know that some of these people are holding back. They're afraid what their peers might say, even though their peers are all thinking the same thing. They know what this is. They have to. Either that or they're just dense. I mean, now this guy here, he goes on to say that, yeah, he believes that there's life on other planets, but he just can't make himself believe that they're actually here It says one of the courses Gaffey teaches at UND is about possible life in the universe. He notes that the star nearest to Earth is so far away, scientists don't have a concept of how that gap could be crossed in a finite lifespan. How far is that distance? Far. Really, really far. Gaffey has an example to illustrate that gap. Imagine putting a dime on a street near the University of North Dakota to represent the sun. The Earth would be 3 feet from that dime and considerably smaller. The nearest star would be somewhere in eastern Montana, making it all but impossible to cross, and especially for being that, in his example, would be a fraction of the size of an ant. Gaffey said he is convinced there is intelligent life elsewhere in the universe. He just doesn't think it's visiting Earth due to that massive gap. I can't even hypothesize what would allow intelligent organisms to cross that distance, he said. It may be possible. I don't rule it out. Well, at least he doesn't rule it out. At least he doesn't rule it out because, in the days leading up to the Wright brothers' famous flight, over 100 years ago, there was some scientist that was quoted in a newspaper. I don't remember offhand who it was, but he said that any kind of flight like that was impossible. And a few days later, the Wright brothers proved him wrong. This is how scientists operate. They've been operating like this for years, for decades, for centuries. And they always, no, the Earth is flat. And then until somebody else comes up with a better idea. They just can't, it's hard for them to change their minds on something. And Gaffey, he also said he was familiar with the videos the Pentagon released last year. They are available online on video streaming sites and have been viewed millions of times. One video shows U.S. Navy pilots tracking a spherical object, and another video from the night of July 15, 2019 shows the crew of the USS Omaha west of San Diego tracking multiple unidentified objects. One object was described as being 6 feet in diameter. The video shows it disappear near the water. Gaffey said it's difficult to hypothesize what those UAPs could be. Drones are one possibility, technology from a hostile nation another. They could be ball lightning, floating balls of plasma said to flitter about and then expire. At this point, I don't exclude anything other than alien spacecraft from consideration, he said. So basically, he's talking out both sides of his mouth now. So, I mean, up here he's saying he doubts it. He doesn't rule it out, right? But then later on he says, at this point, I don't exclude anything other than alien spacecraft from consideration, he said. So frustrating. So frustrating. And then later on in the article, but Sherry Faber-Beyer, an assistant professor of space studies at UND, she believes she takes a little step further. She runs UND Space Studies Observatory near Emirado, west of Grand Forks. Like Gaffey, she said the probability is low that the UAPs tracked by the U.S. Navy are alien in origin, but she can't dismiss the possibility completely. Sometimes you see stuff in the sky and you don't know what it is, she said. She, like Gaffey, believes humanity is not alone in the universe, blah, 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 blah. And then later on she says, I know that you're probably going to find this really far out there, but they could be small satellites sent from the mothership. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave a link, of course, for this article in the description. And just be aware that in order to read it, you need to register with the Duluth News Tribune. But, yeah, the scientists are just, the problem here is that they really don't study this properly. They've never really have. Mainstream scientists have not studied UFOs for decades seriously. I mean, I believe the only people that are studying them seriously are scientists that are employed by the government that work for this faction. We're going to call it Majestic 12 because I don't know what the real name is. I mean, it could be Majestic 12. I don't know. But there's definitely a faction that does look at these things and tries to figure out what's going on. And I'm certain that they have recovered crashed alien spacecraft. There's no doubt in my mind about this. And they're looking at this. So there are some scientists that are seriously looking at it, but it's only a very, very small handful. The rest of them are just like these people. They're very afraid to go out on a limb. That's what it seems like to them. Really, to me, it seems like you're going out on a limb by just denying all the data that's been collected over the years. I mean, you don't take into account all these other things that have happened. So you're basing everything on just what the Pentagon is, presents to you and says, well, yeah, we don't know what these are. These, several videos. Yeah, we don't know what these are. And then in this report, there's 140 some objects. Okay, we don't know what they are. Okay, so you're just basing your on that. I mean, what about those kids in Zimbabwe in 1994? Like, what about those kids? I mean, over 60 kids that's, in broad daylight, the flying saucer lands, an alien being comes out and communicates with them telepathically. And all these kids were interviewed shortly thereafter, and they all said, yeah, the same thing. I mean, there was no, because kids don't make up conspiracies. It's not 60 plus kids. There's just no way. It's impossible. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, an incident like that Zimbabwe 1994 incident, at that school, with little kids, that's proof. That's proof. That's telling you that, yes, there's something there. Just it's the same as anything else. Like right now, I could tell you for a fact that somewhere in the ocean right now, there are sharks at this very moment eating other amphibious creatures alive. Right now, there's a fly or some other insect trapped in Venus flytraps right now. They can't get out. They don't know what's going on, even though they don't realize they're being slowly devoured, slowly dissolved. Right now, there's a bird somewhere eating a worm alive. I know these things are happening. I don't have to see them to know that they're happening. I know that there are. There's a bear right now in the woods taking a crap. Right now, this very second. At the very second I'm recording this, and at the very second that you're listening to this, right now there's a bear somewhere taking a crap. I just know. I don't need to see it. I just know it. And I know that there are extraterrestrials on this planet and they're visiting us, and I don't know what they're here for. They're up to something. I don't know what, whether studying us or, maybe they have other plans. Maybe they're planning on conquering us. I don't know. Who knows? I know the government knows more than, the average person like me. I mean, they're the ones who've, recovered the craft and then been looking at this, secretly for all these years. So they know something, but we don't. We don't know I know that they're there. Right, I know that they exist. I've seen one of the crafts, so I know, and I believe I was in the presence of one of the beings when I was a kid. I've talked about that in a different video, a different podcast. So I know, like personally, I know. But just it's just like anything else. It's just like it's the birds, it's the bees, it's the extraterrestrials. There's things. All you need to do is go out at night, on a clear night, go out in front of your house and look up at the sky, look at all the stars. Don't you see that? Yeah, of course there's going to be billions of stars up there, right? Of course there's intelligent life somewhere in the universe, right? And of course the possibilities are endless, and of course there's most certainly life that has developed well beyond where we are right now, right? And of course they had to figure out how to travel through space somehow. I know these people, these scientists, they just can't imagine it. They have the complete lack of imagination. They just can't take into account. Like, there's other people that say these things too. I hear this a lot. I just don't see how they can get here. I hear that from people I know, and it just drives me crazy. And every time I hear it, I have to say the same thing over and over again. Yeah, but what if they're 10,000 years more advanced than we are, or 1,000,000 years, let's say, or maybe 2,000,000 years? How do you know how far advanced? Maybe they're so far advanced that they figured something out. I'm sure they have. They must have. Just because our scientists don't understand this yet, haven't figured anything out, because, the laws of physics, as far as they're concerned, is... they seem like it. They act like it can't be modified. Or things, they just can't see it. But if it's happening, Occam's razor. If there's all these sightings, all these craft, and we know that we're not making them, right? And believe me, folks, it's not China and it's not Russia. How many times we got to say that? That's just bogus. That's bogus. So, it's just, they're here. It's all part of this, whatever this is. I mean, why is it so hard to believe? I mean, just look at our lives. Like, this whole thing is a miracle. I mean, why is it so hard to believe that there could be other intelligent beings that are visiting here? Why is that so fantastic? Really, just this whole thing right now, what you see in front of your face is fantastic. Like, a lot of people just can't see the whole thing here, the big picture. Like, look at me. I'm a thinking being. How does this happen? What's going on here? It's our whole lives are a miracle. This whole thing, it's all fantastic. Everything. I have a little dog here running around, in the house. That little creature. I've had it for 17 years almost. It's how do you explain it? All of this stuff. It's all weird, and when you really think about it, but it's fantastic and it's great, and it seems like it makes me think, wow, anything's possible. Look at this. I'm here. What makes me me? How am I here? How did this all happen? It's all fantastic, all of it.